Hello, welcome to today's film. Most of the cameras that I show you are somewhat old, dating from say the 1950s or the 1960s. So I thought today we'd move on to what I would consider to be the more modern times with a camera dating from 1991. This is a Canon EOS 100 35mm DSLR. Sorry, not DSLR, it's not digital, it's film. It's an SLR, and yeah, it's a rather ugly looking thing. To be honest, it's an EF mount camera, and I'll just show you over it. Have a look at it. But it's quite usable. These are very cheap on the auction sites. You can pick one of these up for under £10. This lens is just to show you what sort of fits on it. At the moment, it's an old camera, like I say, date from 1991 through to 1995. This was a replacement for the 650, which came out in '87, which is when the EF mount was launched. And you can see I'm using a current modern STM lens on it, and it works perfectly fine. Obviously there's no video because it's a film camera, but you know, the modern, any EF lens will work on any EF camera. This is an older lens, probably more from its sort of era. This is a 20 to 35 2.8L, which is quite a nice wide angle lens. And again, this is a lens from the era, and this works fine on digital cameras or on the old film cameras. If you watch my film on the EF mount, you know it's very easy, very simple. And there you can see inside the mirror box and the contacts. Red dot at the top, red dot on the lens. White dots is EFS, remember. Put it on, turn it clockwise, and there you go. This is your lens release button on the side here. We've got there was an infrared remote for it, and I think this is also used by the autofocus for AF assist. And the shutter button, you have a dial, a wheelie dial, and then on the top we have an LCD screen, lug straps, AF selection, drive selection, a hot shoe. Obviously it's one of these fancy Canon ones with all the different connections for the flash guns. And over here we've got exposure compensation, looks like flash exposure compensation, and also metering. We have 3 different types of metering available. And for a film camera, a film SLR, it does have a pop-up flash. And here we have the command dial with all the different modes. L is locked. On the back we have another second dial, so when we're using it in the manual setting, this one adjusts the shutter speed and this one adjusts the aperture. And you can see where the film goes in there. And on the side we can see the opening for the back. The back opens up, and you can see there is oil on the shutter blades. This one's starting to have problems with the foam leaking along there. It's still working, but that needs to be dealt with, because otherwise they're just going to start sticking together and affecting the shutter speeds. So it's a power wind forward, it's a power rewind as well when the thing's finished. It's got DX coding, although you can override the DX coding. It's one of the first cameras that has the special functions, which is something that exists on the high-end Canons to this day. So to turn it on, you push this little button in and you can select. And this has the scene modes, a bit like if you ever used a Canon digital camera. You have the scene modes for whether you're taking portraits, macros or close-ups. Canon tried kind of a unique thing at the time with this camera, in that they published a book with sample photographs in it, and each photograph had a barcode. And if you wanted to take that kind of picture, you would use the camera with this reader to read the barcode, and that would set the camera up for landscapes or portraits or sports and action, etc. It's not something that really ever caught on, but it's quite an interesting idea really, is that you could just read the barcode for the kind of photograph that you want to take, and that would set the camera up for you. Whether that works or not, I have no idea. I've never used it. But yeah, you've got your scene modes, and then if you go the other way, you've obviously got your normal program. TV, which is shutter priority and Canon talk. AV is aperture priority, and then M is full manual. And then it also has this depth thing where it works out the aperture that's needed to cover the distances that you want to get in focus. Another thing that never really caught on. You can set the ISO manually, then it's set to 400. Multiple exposures. There's also bracketings built in as well, and then yeah, custom functions, and that's how you set the custom functions on it. So if we put it into manual, and you can see there's a pop-up flash. I'm not going to flash it at you, but yeah, it has a pop-up flash, which I think is quite neat for an SLR camera. And this is tied in with zoom, so this adjusts depending on the focal length of your lens from sort of 28mm through to I think it's 85mm. But yeah, it's a zoom enabled flash, and yeah, you can set, you can see on here it's set to, this is your shutter speeds, this is your aperture, set on one shot, and you push down on this, you've got AI servo, one shot, AI servo. One shot is it just focuses the once. AI servo focuses continuously. It's the same as a digital camera, to be honest, but it's a film camera. And then you've got single shot. It runs at 3 frames a second, this camera, which is quite quick, considering there's no other accessories on it. No motor drive or auto winder attachments. And then a self-timer function. And then you've also got your metering. There's 3 different types of metering. The centre weight, etc. So you can choose your different kinds of metering. And yeah, quite well specified. Not particularly heavy, it's a plastic construction, it's not the most robust thing in the world. But it's got quite a lot of functionality, certainly compared to a lot of the cameras that I've been showing you on the channel recently. And of course it's got all these degrees of automation, as well as the scene modes. So let's put some film in it, and I'm going to switch it from this lens to the L series lens. So turn it off and take this lens off. Oh. Oh. I do have a back cap, but I can put this back cap on there, can't I? Same thing, red to red, and that's the 20 to 35 on there. Let me just find a roll of film for it. To use up this out-of-date film, so this is a Colorama Smart Film 200 ISO by the look of it, and the expiry date on this is 2006, so it's a colour negative film. So hasn't seen the light of day for a long time. It's been stored in the fridge, so should be fine. Opens up on the side. There we go. This is a DX coded film, so hopefully, I can't remember if the DX is enabled in this or not. So that just sits in there. Make sure it's on the spool, and then with these you just bring it across and lay it down. Very easy to load. Close the back up, turn it on, and there it's ready to go. Oh, it's on number one, and it has it picked up the ISO on it. Let's just have a look. See what it's picked up. Yep, it's read the ISO correctly at 200. I might change that because obviously they say with colour negative film every 10 years past its expiry date you should add an extra stop of light to it. So I'll probably do that before I shoot it. And this is a C41 process that can go into my pile that I'm accumulating for when I start doing my colour processing, my C41 processing. So there you go. If you're a Canon digital shooter, a full frame Canon digital shooter, it's very cheap and easy to have a go at shooting some film because you've already got the lenses. If you want to shoot film and buy new lenses, obviously Canon are still making EF lenses and they will fit on film cameras, so it's quite a sensible option really. You know, the 50mm lenses are not particularly expensive. These nifty 50s are fairly cheap lenses, and EF lenses are so plentiful because they've been around for, well, since 1987, so what's that, 30 odd years. There's a huge amount of EF lenses around, and they are pretty good, to be fair. I know there's always this Nikon Canon battle, but you know, you think this is an electronic camera, consumer grade from 1991, and it's still working, apart from it's got a little bit of oil on the shutters, but you know, that's 91. You know, it's what other appliances, you know, last that sort of length of time. So yeah, I highly recommend it. You can pick these up for under £10 on eBay. And like I say, if you've got Canon lenses, if you're a full frame shooter, you know, you've already got the lenses. So just pick up one of these and run a few rolls of film through it, and you never know, you might like it. You know, they're just as easy to use as a digital camera, and if you're moving from digital to film or becoming a hybrid shooter, then that's what I am. I shoot Canon and Nikon, both digital and film, so you get the best of all worlds really, and the lenses work on both. So it's a win-win situation really. But thank you very much for watching and listening to me ramble on about stuff, and I hope you've enjoyed. Questions and comments are always welcome. I will always answer questions about photography, not just this camera, but things in general. Darkroom techniques, costs of film and chemicals, and whether film photography is really viable. To be honest, it's getting more and more viable as each sort of week goes by, because there's so many films available now, and the price of chemicals is quite reasonable. It just takes a little bit of time and effort, and it's a useful skill to learn. I think I find it very enjoyable, and as I said in another video, you know, a negative and a print will last a lot longer than an image stored on an electronic media somewhere that's going to get corrupted or lost or forgotten about. It's quite nice to look through a photo album. Anyway, that's enough for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.